I asked you for your hottest Vanguard takes, and I would be roasting the ever-living shit out of them. Before that though, if you want to get better at Vanguard and thus not have as many bad Vanguard takes, go to the link in the description. I have a course right there called Vanguard Mastery that will help you improve your Vanguard skills. You can use the code Solemn for a discount. Also, of course, there's still Zero Damage Gaming playmats, so use the code Solemn for that. And 50cards.shop still has some amazing deals for pre-orders for Vanguard cards. Now let's get into the video. So as you can see, I tweeted out, give me your hottest Vanguard takes right now and I will roast them in a YouTube video. So let's go over some of your hot takes. The art in Vanguard is low-key overrated and ends up looking cluttered with extra lines or details. Leave it to a Yu-Gi-Oh fan to complain about fucking art. Yu-Gi-Oh players should never be talking about art. The end-of-date VR reprint protection also indicates the approximate end date of official V-format tournament support. Now that's a hot take. I don't even have the ability to roast this. I just hope this is wrong. We saw a Springfest announcement that showed that at least in 2023 we still have V tournaments, so we'll see about that. Every deck in V has a more fun version in Premium. This is just true. I can't roast you for that. It's 2027. You've once again qualified for Vanguard Worlds and also topped your 4th YCS. Whoa, okay. Business has been good, of course. You've just settled on your 4th house, okay? And you can eat curry. You found a cure. For people who don't know, I've got food poisoning from curry and now I'm terrified. The Solemn brand is going to the moon and you still can't top with Great Nature. Wow, thanks, guy. Thank you very much. How about you try and top with Great Nature, huh? We'll see you try. A hot take from Astral Susanoo: to make D the ultimate format, you simply need to shower it with Stride deck sets. Now I know this one's gonna be super controversial because you're gonna have one camp going fuck yeah and you're gonna have another camp trying to burn alive the other camp. So I don't know about this one. Derek says, you are at Worlds, dripped up in Solemn Tones gear. Attend the Friday night dinner hanging with the WCC, getting a good amount of sleep into round 1 of Swiss. The next day, 6-0 and you made it through deck check. Sit at top 8 and you versus Nubatama. You still can't beat it. Wow. Wow. Thanks. Thank you very much. And then I'll see you at 4th place, right? I don't know if this is considered a hot take anymore, considering we have literal perfect guard G-Guardians now, but hashtag free Ellie. It's kind of crazy to me that she's still the only banned G-Guard in the entire game. I realize that she's good, but maybe it's time, even if only at 1. And then down here we have the Ellie G-Guardian. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I'd like to roast this one, but I just don't know. I think it might be fine. Technically, that does give Bermuda infinite G-Guards, but the other ones are usually better, though in the grind game this one gets insane and you keep sending back Sandy if you want to. Ooh, I don't know. It might be fine, it might not be fine. It's really hard to say. Tops aren't as cool when it's a known player with a meta deck. I say this with the thought that known players are good and skilled themselves enough to not hide behind meta decks. Play your favorites. Looking at all the Steam Maiden players. Oh no, Big Crizzle. Why are you saying this? Look, this is just dead wrong, okay? Okay? Like, if you are good, that doesn't mean you can take a trial deck and top with it. And again, I go over this in the Vanguard Mastery course, like pretty in depth. Overall, your deck choice sets the limits for how far your skill can take you. If you bring a trial deck, your skill won't do shit. You know, okay, sure, you might have like one win that would have been a loss for another player, but you're not gonna take that deck and become an X1 god and topping with it. That just doesn't happen. Again, the choice of deck sets the limit for how much your skill can and will matter. Beyond this, why would you ever limit yourself? Why would you be throwing on purpose? If your goal is to actually top reliably, go to Worlds and so forth, why would you play garbage on purpose? Beyond that, there's nothing wrong with topping with a meta deck because it's still really hard. There's still loads of people entering with meta decks doing god awful. Mega Colony doesn't suck. Now that's a hot take. I don't even need to roast you. Tournament results speak for themselves. Every reboot lowers skill expression and competitiveness of this game. I'm assuming you mean every reboot has, because technically you could reboot a million times and some of them might be more skill intensive and so forth. You don't know that. Now, looking at the past two, I would somewhat somewhat agree. I think V as a format was easier than End of G, and I feel Overdress as a format is easier than V was by the end, but you can also just say that's because they were newer, though again, I don't know if V has ever been more complex than End of G. So maybe, though at the same time, we have never had people topping as consistently as now, like the same people. So somehow skill is still triumphing consistently. So what do you think about that? Put over triggers at 16 copies per deck. When everyone's super, no one will be. Now that's a take for sure. Though I'm pretty sure at that point, you're just playing some deck stacking deck, or you're just not playing, you know, like Oracle Think Tank or something like that. I think definitely any deck that can, you know, shift the odds of triggers will become way better then. VBT01 and beginning of D were very skill-intensive formats. I don't think you actually believe that. Like, this could be like a hot take. I just don't think it is one. I think you straight up just said something stupid just to rile people up. I played beginning of D. I topped beginning of D with Bastion, and let me tell you, I did not know what I was doing. It didn't matter. Like, obviously there's some game sense, you know, you can try and somewhat get the game to go in your favor, but overall, I will gladly admit I barely tested. I just took someone else's deck build. Bastion, and even to lesser extent Bruce, though Bruce, you know, had some lines to it, but just playing Bastion, you could top D, and it just depended on if you drew your personas or you went first. Skill intensive, my ass. Having cards that say guard with X or more cards per attack is not a real problem in this game. It's the cards that stop you from being able to guard full stop a la Mizukaze that are going to be the bigger problem. I actually agree to an extent. I think the guard restrict of 2 or more, 3 or more, and blah 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 is not that big of an issue, and it is definitely the ones that say like you can't guard full stop. Like Ichikishima, for example, while it was never a real problem because of how slow it was, at the same time, it is the most likely to break. And I will give you that. Though, of course, there's also a limit. If you suddenly have a turn-wide 5 guard restrict, of course, that's going to be a really big problem. And as we saw now, the Colossus in Gear Chronicle is also a problematic card. So both can definitely become issues. It's just that the harsh guard restricts like Mizukaze are far more likely to become issues. Steam Maiden format was actually really enjoyable because you knew what deck 50% of the room was playing, and figuring out how to win going second was the true test of strength this format. Stan, please. No, this is just wrong. Look, there are interesting tier 0 formats. Those exist in other card games, and they have even existed in Vanguard. I could argue the Time Leap format, maybe back in the day, it was very skill intensive. We saw certain pro players doing well consistently. But Steam Maiden tier 0 was not. Steam Maiden tier 0 was entirely you go first, because this means you're going to be up a force marker and you're going to be Entaranaing sooner. And you, of course, had to draw your correct ride, and you had to draw those rewrites. As long as that happened, going first, second, you know, good luck being better going second. You could say, oh, but what about damage denial? But damage denial often lost you the tempo game unless your opponent played awfully. So overall, while, you know, figuring out how to win going second is a skill, that skill is utterly meaningless very, very often in this format, so I disagree hard. Any standard deck can be a good premium deck, you just have to build it accordingly. Good luck with that. I would love to see you try building Premium Bastion. You know, hit me up when you figure that one out. The random nature of the over trigger and its ability to shift a match actually makes the game more fun. Yes, in the same way that throwing dice is fun. You know, playing D&D is fun, but I hope you're not playing throwing dice as a competitive game. That's all I'm gonna say. Ride-down strategies are more of a problem than Stunverse in Premium and should be addressed before any Stunverse hits in the upcoming ban list. Oh, do you want a ban list prediction? Let me know in the comments down below. It is true that Ride Down is very strong. More than Stunverse? Potentially. We'll see. Vanguard's skill level got worse over the years. I don't think so. Again, we've been seeing players stop more consistently, you know, as the years went on. We also noticed there's tons of strategies that people just didn't really do back in the day that they are doing now. There's far more depth now than before, at least when it comes to Premium. So, you know, I mean, if you're gonna compare G to like Overdress, sure, I'll give you you that one. But as a whole, just the entire game, including everything around it, I disagree. Melody format was the first interesting format in V. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. How is that interesting? You just had to go first, find Lizelot, and then just go Sonata, get my board, and auto win. How is that interesting? Panagiotis, please explain. Bermuda is the best clan ever, and all bans regarding Bermuda should be lifted because we did nothing wrong. Okay, so is Bermuda the best clan ever? Or should the bans be lifted? You can't be the best clan and simultaneously need more help, right? Premium should be more than stride or die. Well, do I have news for you? Because it isn't. Problem solved. OT is a fair and balanced mechanic. Again, this is like one of those hot takes where you're just trying to rile up because it's so obviously wrong. You know, it's like the whole Mystic Mine people or the Floodgate people in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. I'm not falling for the bait. In 2023, Vanguard will let someone run the competitive side of Vanguard. They will handle balance and tournaments, which will create a path to pro because tourneys will have decent cash prizes and online player rankings that track progress regionally and locally. No. My hottest take probably is that Percival should not have been banned and instead should have been errated so that it only works with Bluish Flame units. The fact it was banned instead killed off the Bluish Flame deck in V. That's not a hot take, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees this is just true. Now this is a hot take. I think most SPs look like shit. The art is great, but it makes the card even more cluttered and makes the text harder to read depending on the card. I just disagree. Like, we have FRs right now, which might just be what you're looking for, you know? You still have your full art, but you have none of the texture. And personally, I think they look awful in comparison. But hey, it's a good thing that people have options, right? G was peak Vanguard. I don't know. I like G. I'm a big G fanboy. I like Strides, I like G Guardians, but personally, I've been liking just the current way the game is, because you have something for everyone. You know, you have your easier barrier of entry type of thing in Overdress, and you have Premium, where the game has never been more complex than, you know, these past few years. So if what you love about G is that, you know, that in-depth cool back and forth, you have it in Premium. If you want, you know, a bit of a more toned down, easier type of gameplay, then you have Overdress. So you got something for everyone. So I don't know. Again, I like G, but I wouldn't trade what we have now for G. Steam Maidens is actually beatable. This is true. Any deck is beatable because luck exists. Overall, though, if you're going to a tournament and you're hoping to, you know, up your odds of winning, Steam Maiden is going to be the way to do it, and all the data shows it. Gredora is not a very good card. I agree. I think Gredora by itself doesn't do anything. Again, it's back to that age-old thing. If you're just stopping your opponents from playing the game, but then you're not playing the game yourself, you're not doing anything. And Gredora is the perfect not playing the game yourself type of card. If you took away its Floodgate effect, who would ever want to stride that in the current year? No one would. So overall, its offense output, or well, its defense, let's say, nothing of what it does is actually impactful beyond the fact that it floodgates. So I kind of agree, even though it's like a problematic stride that's unfun to play against and so forth for many, it's just not that strong. It needs a lot of help around it, like when we had Order Colony, for it to be actually a good card. Too much ride line. Okay, this is very short and sweet, but I kind of agree. There's a lot. I was like not really paying much attention to Overdress around this summertime and then, you know, into the start of the season because I was focusing on V and Premium. And when I then looked back about a month and a half ago or so, I started getting back into Standard, you know, learning about Utah and so forth. I was like, holy fuck, they've been adding ride lines and adding ride lines and adding ride lines, and I'm just confused, you know. I now know what they all do, I now can play, but it feels very hard to keep up with. If you take a little break, you feel like there's 30 more ride lines that you have to learn. Promos being really strong is good and healthy for the game. If those promos are then very accessible, I agree. If they are hard to access, I disagree. NLK is a boring card because it's the only card people know when you say DI now. This is true. Though personally, I liked NLK when it, you know, first came out. Of course, it was broken as hell. I didn't like the balance wise, but just what it brought to DI, I really liked. Over time, though, it's been a bit much for a bit too long, you know. We've had our 4 years, soon 5 years of NLK. Yeah. Maybe they need something new and fresh. Not a hot take, just a fact. DI is the pendulum of Vanguard. This is true. You know, when you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh video right now, like a pendulum combo video, you think, holy fuck, look at all those summons and all those things. This is the most broken deck ever. Oh my god, this is so unfair. And then you try to go second. And that's it. That was your fun. The deck's now dead. So DI is kind of the same way, where if everything goes right, it's the most unfair, crazy deck. And then once one little thing goes wrong, it's over. You die. That's the thing about DI. It's basically literally a pendulum. It goes from ass to insane and then back to ass constantly. Kagero is an overpowered clan in premium. Yeah, this has to be bait. DI is the best deck to take for Worlds. This is also bait. If you are the luckiest player alive, you might be correct, but overall, it goes bad really often in that deck. Crest cards are a bigger problem than over triggers in standard. Too much free power. Also, having more than one stride deck set is a yikes. Imagine playing D format in Springfest in a team and 2 of 3 decks are stride. I thought this is standard and not G. I haven't really tested with the crests yet. Again, English doesn't have them yet. I'm sure Chris already has an opinion because he has been playing standard in Japan. Overall though, I don't really mind. Again, I like stride, though if people don't like stride, I can imagine those stride deck sets being good. It becomes annoying for them. Though we don't know if Messiah will actually be good though. It's very possible that Judd being good was like a one-time thing and that they are not looking for these encounter thingies to become actually insanely good. We'll see. The game needs another reboot right now and make every set from GBT 13 onwards non-canon. While I would enjoy that because I like Tavas in GBT 13, I don't think I would enjoy it for very long. Again, I like where the game is at right now. I like that I can enjoy premium. I like that other people can enjoy other things and so forth. There's just options. And again, when it comes to like complex back and forth, G is nowhere near what premium currently has going for it. So I don't know. I think I'll let the past be the past for that one. Melody format was a top 3 V format. I mean, V format did not have many good formats, so maybe you're right, but Melody was definitely not a good format though. DI is the most overrated deck in V and is largely carried by Hope on Them being a dumb card that needs to go alongside all other generic turn-wide guard restricts. Then again, I can't ever open 2 Fu's demanded number of Terror and Char. This is true. Whenever you open all of this in V, it's like the most crazy deck ever, and then when you don't, it feels very ass. Once again, DI is a pendulum. Sometimes insane, sometimes ass. You just have to hope that the pendulum lands consistently on the right side for you for the whole day. So these were your hot takes. I hope no one has been very offended. Again, this is all in good fun. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you want to go and pick up the Vanguard Mastery course at zerodamagegaming.com to up your Vanguard skills, use the code Solemn. If you need any beautiful playmats at zerodamagegaming.com, use the code Solemn. And if you need any Vanguard cards, go to 50cards.shop and use the code Solemn. I will see you soon. Ciao.